Hi there, it's Anna from Inspiration Playground, and today I'm just going to show you how to make this super cute little Christmas pudding out of the Curvy Keepsake Thinlit Die. So I've got two here already. So I've already gone ahead and used my Curvy Keepsake Thinlit Dies, so this one here, to cut out the base that I need. So I've done that in early espresso cardstock. I also have 2 pieces of Dazzling Diamonds glimmer paper. So these 2 pieces, they measure 2.5 inches by 2 3/4 inches. So that's for those 2. And I have another 2, each measuring 2 3/4 inches by inches. So 2 of those. Now in the garden green cardstock, I have 2 pieces of that, each measuring 1 3/4 by 2.5 inches. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my Dazzling Diamonds glimmer paper to fit my base. Okay, so I'll just bring in my Big Shot. Now, the way that these have been measured are to fit perfectly on your frame here. Okay, so one of them, so this one here is the 2 3/4 by 2.5 inch, and it's going to go on the fatter piece of your Thinlit, and we're going to leave this piece blank, so we're not going to cut that at all. So I'm just going to put that on my Big Shot. I'm just going to go the other way. So I'm just going to fit that on the paper perfectly. Okay. So I'm using a magnetic plate, just makes it that little bit easier to line it up. However, if you don't have one, just use some washi tape to secure your Thinlit in place. Sorry, a bit shaky while I run this through. Okay, so there's one piece that I'm going to need. So the second piece, so I'll actually keep these because you never know, I might need it later on. So I'll line up the second one. So doing exactly the same, so with a little fat end, I'm just going to line that up perfectly on there. And then we'll run that piece through. Okay, keep that. There's my other piece. Okay, now I'm going to do the same with the other pieces that I cut. Okay, so but this time using the pointy end of the Thinlit, just measure it so that it is just touching the top of the paper here and just going to the edges. Okay. Now, like in all my videos, I do not profess to be an expert at this whatsoever. So I'm sure there is an easier way to do this, but this just works for me, and this is the least amount of paper wastage, I guess, that I've worked out. Okay. There's one. So I'm a demonstrator. I'm located in Brisbane, in Australia. So if you don't have a demonstrator, or if you would like to come along to my classes, if you live in the Brisbane area, please just contact me. I'd love to hear from you. If you don't live close to me, that's okay, especially if you're overseas. Just like my video or follow me on YouTube. You can check out my Facebook page as well. Or my website. Okay, so we've got all of our dazzling diamond pieces now. So I'm just going to put this out of the way. Okay, so there they all are. So they will line up perfectly with these pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put together my curvy box. Now I'm just using double-sided tape because, as I've mentioned before in my videos, if I use my fast fuse, it tends to make a fool out of me and doesn't work on camera. So that's why I'm just using my double-sided tape today. For this part anyway. Okay, so we've got that piece ready to go now. So with these pieces, what we're going to do is we're going to cut the piece of custard. So this part here. So now with this, the more wave that you can put in your cut, the better it looks. So this one here, I used a little bit more than this pudding. And you can just see it gives it that little bit more detail. Okay, so now so that it lines up and looks like it's custard, what we want to do is we don't want to cut off this edge. We're actually going to start at this point and we're just going to go up from there. So just freehand drop it, and we want to end up at the same point down the bottom here, like this. So it was previously like this, the edge, so we want these points to stay as long as possible. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do the others. Last one. Okay, so because this glimmer paper is a little bit thicker than the cardstock, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to give it a bit of a curl. We just don't want it to sit flat once we pop it onto our box here. I just don't want it to be hard to curl later on. So I'll just I guess we're just loosening up the paper a little bit so it's easier to manipulate once it's on the cardstock. There we go. Now, so what I'm going to do to attach this on is I'm going to use my Tombow glue. So just simply want to go around here because we don't want that part to come apart, and then especially paying good attention to the detail around the bottom of the piece of custard here. Okay, and then we'll just go ahead and pop that on. Line it up. Okay, I'll move it around. Do the next one. So again, around these pieces here and then around the bottom. Oops. Oops. And then the last one. Sorry, that was my puppy dog that I'm sure is wanting a cuddle or something. He's sitting up on my desk chair at the moment watching. Okay. Okay, so there's the last one. So I'll just give that a second to dry properly. Now, of course, no pudding's complete without some holly on the top. So the easiest way that I found to do this is take my piece of garden green. I'm just going to grab a pencil, and what I did is I just punched out a 1-inch circle. So I will just mark the center here. And what I want to do is I'm just going to roughly draw scallops, I guess, on here using my 1-inch punch, and then that will act as a template for when I want to chop it out. So I'll grab my 1-inch now and see how I've got the pencil marks on there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of line that up and punch. So holly leaves aren't perfect, so that works well for me. Okay. So there we have one. And then the second one. So this is merely a guide. If you want to wing it, go right ahead. I'm just not confident enough to, especially on camera, to end up with a holly leaf that is probably 1/2 inch wide. So that's why I'm just doing this today. Okay. So I'll just go again. So it merely acts as a guide. Once you've done that, you might like to rub out the pencil lines. I'm just going to turn mine over. So it just depends how particular you are. Okay, so there's my 2 holly leaves. What I do want to do with them is I just want to take my Stampin' trimmer and just roughly down through the middle score a line, and the same on this one, just so we can give them some dimension. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab my garden green and I'll just go down through the middle and just ink the edge of that. There's the second one. Okay, and just down through the middle again on that one. So, like that. Now I'll just glue that onto there. So we want it on a little bit of an angle like this. So we're just waiting for that to dry. What we'll do is we'll grab our Curvy Keepsake box and we'll just pop it together. So very simple. Okay, so there we have our pudding. Okay, and then I'm just going to put some glue here and pop my holly leaves on. I'm then going to take some linen thread, because none of my projects are complete without linen thread, right? So we'll just figure eight some linen thread around here. Harry. Oh, that doesn't want to play because it's all stuck to my fingers. And then what we will do, oops, once that stays there, is just grab some of the red pom-pom trim, the real red pom-pom trim. We want 3 berries. And just put a dab of glue there, and we're just going to, excuse me, pop them all together and onto your holly leaf. And there you have it, a super cute little Christmas pudding made out of a Curvy Keepsake box. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial today. I'll see you soon. Bye.